So this session is a keynote speech, and it'll be 3 speakers, and it's about robot-aided forestry management. And our first speaker, what I'll do is I'll introduce all the speakers now, so I don't have to do it individually as they come on. Our first speaker is Jerin Clulo. And Jerin is, she currently leads the Digital Connectivity Service in Nottinghamshire County Council. Jerin has worked for the council for over 14 years, and the last 6 years has seen her working in the growth and investment function. She has single-handedly secured several £1 million of funding via numerous bidding processes to extend the superfast broadband coverage in Nottinghamshire. Thanks to this, over 98% of the county now receives superfast broadband services. Most recently, Jerin has brought together a consortium for a 5G testbed in Sherwood Forest and its surrounding area. The council-led £10 million project sees cutting-edge apps transform the visitor experience, including virtual reality tours of the medieval forest. Our second speaker is Tawfiq Ashari, who is Associate Professor in Networks and Communications at Birmingham City University. Tawfiq currently leads the Future Information Networks Research Cluster at Birmingham City University. And as an award-winning researcher, he is trained as an information theorist with a PhD from Cambridge. He has served as an academic principal investigator for the multi-million pound 5G connected forest funded by the UK DCMS. And our third speaker is Moad Idrissi, Research Associate in Robotics and Automation, also from Birmingham City University. Dr. Idrissi is a Research Associate in the field of smart computing and robotics. He is the primary robotic researcher for the multi-million pound 5G connected forest, and in May 2021, his PhD in aerial robotics from Birmingham University was successfully completed, in addition to the MSc in embedded systems gained from the University of Birmingham also. He has published several peer-reviewed papers, and his primary interests are now focused on vision-based autonomous robots using AI and robotic interaction. So if you just welcome to the stage, please, Jerin Clulo.
We are a very bright color today because I knew they will catch the eyes, so I was a bit jealous. So hope you will see me around with my pink suit today. So very nice to see you all. I am from Nottinghamshire County Council, and as said, I'm the Digital Connectivity Manager for Nottinghamshire County Council. And as part of my role is, we have an ambition to make Nottinghamshire the county for Robin Hood, a digital excellence, center of digital excellence. And our ambition is to make our county low carbon, sustainable, and trying new technology innovations so that our new generations, next generations, they stay in the county. Our ambition to make Nottinghamshire as the place, a good place for people to live, work, visit. So 5G connected forest developed 2 years ago, just 2 weeks before pandemic. So you can imagine how difficult process we had. I didn't see my partners for like almost 2 years, but we managed to complete the project, even virtually. And this project is based in Sherwood Forest, which is home for Robin Hood. We have a couple of use cases that we developed. I will share a quick video with you. But what we thought about is just, there is no other place, especially in a forest settings in a world, that you can try 5G. It is not because of its geography, it is because of its strong culture and heritage. And we believe that there will be really good business cases after that, because it was a test and trial project. So we wanted to utilize the power of 5G for new business cases, to bring new innovations to our businesses, how we can make them develop new ideas. So we have a quick video to show you first, to give a brief about our project.
The legend of Robin Hood is rightly known around the world. The outlaw from English folklore, who famously took from the rich to give to the poor, and is said to have lived with a gang of merry men in Sherwood Forest, has been depicted in dozens of Hollywood films. Now, that legend is being brought to life for a new generation, thanks to 5G.
living in the county, the home for Robin Hood, bringing my children to walk around Sherwood Forest, I really wanted to make a change and make a difference for the forest. In one of my visits to Sherwood Forest, I realized that this forest has so much potential, but doesn't have any connectivity. After done some researches, there is not even a forest in the world have the 5G connectivity. But I didn't give up and I found some partners and we shared the ambition.
Using some of the latest, smartest technology, Nottinghamshire County Council has worked with its innovative partners to create the world's first 5G connected forest.
5G is about fast broadband communications, so lots of images. The augmented reality experience is kind of high definition video and headsets interacting with each other. So that is obviously a tricky thing to do. It's all about new 5G stuff, new equipment, in this case also new frequency band.
We incorporate elements of the state-of-the-art digital technology such as artificial intelligence, 5G connectivity, and how we can harness the power of those state-of-the-art technology to help in an area where it has limited uses before.
So what we try and do is whenever there's a new technology out, we try and adopt that, be early adopters of that technology and be at the forefront of producing content for that. Yeah, so the 5G network has been installed in the forest and it's our job now to try and trial the content with members of the public who will then feed back on the experience. So that might include the network and any technical issues they may have, but also on the content so we can look to improve in the future based on their feedback.
So we're quite excited about the future in both the sort of medium and long term as well over the next couple of years, particularly as 5G is evolving so fast as well.
Deploying this technology into a natural environment like Sherwood Forest may seem unusual, but as well as bringing the legend of Robin Hood to life for digital-first young visitors, it also helps to monitor the health of the forest, protecting it for future generations.
We are not trying to damage the nature, we are trying to work around it, support our nature, protect our, to make it even better.
It's not all about profit in a business, it's about getting the best from technology and then the best out of people around you.
So yes, you saw some beautiful places, natural and also heritage sites. But would you believe that 3 out of 10 poorest districts and boroughs in UK in terms of social mobility are in Nottinghamshire? This means that people from those gorgeous places that didn't have opportunity to access those skills and technology and opportunities. With 5G, we can do this now, and 5G gives that power to do this. This is why we wanted to get this funding and develop this project, and now we are looking to expand to other places. What we done, very basically, first thing what we did, we bring that full fiber connectivity to the forest. With the next 3 years now, they have all the visitors coming to Nottinghamshire County Council's Sherwood Forest and Rufford Park, they have access to that super outstanding Wi-Fi connectivity just to do an access. And also, 5G connectivity that never been done in a forest setting in the world. You've seen in the video, we used holographic movie and AR ghost walk in our heritage site. With holographic movie of Robin Hood, we brought Invisible Visible. So Robin Hood is alive for a new generation to have a go on that 25-minute movie. With environmental protection, which you will hear from my colleagues shortly, with our robot dogs, and that is the 5G quadruple robot dogs, which we will introduce, Gizmo and Eric. So what I would like to say is we developed 2 use cases in terms of these visitor experience and environmental management, but we would like to share more about the technicals. But what I want to say to close off and introduce my partners, my colleagues in here, the person who invented 5G will not be the person who invents the use cases for 5G. This technology needs people with vision and imagination like us So we are just looking forward for new ideas, what we can use this power of 5G and next 4G, next generations. So I will invite Tawfik and Muad to the stage to introduce Gizmo and Eric.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, and pleased to have you all here in this room. Thank you, Jaren, for the early introductions about the project. So I'm going to actually talk more about the environmental management use case, which we carried out over the past 2 years or so in Sherwood Forest, and share with you some of the challenges we have, share with you some of the technology that we utilize in order to realize the promise of 5G. Okay, so if you talk about 5G, perhaps for those of you who are working in telecoms area, you are quite familiar with the three umbrella in which the 5G are promising to us. So the first one obviously is the low latency, significantly lower than 4G. The other umbrella will be on the enhanced mobile broadband, which means that the 5G will deliver at much higher speed compared to 4G. And then the last one is on the massive connectivity, typically an applications where you have massive number of sensors, they are communicating with each other, they deliver the data from the environment. So when we joined the project as an academic partner, the first question we ask is, what can we do with 5G in our environmental use cases? Is it just like an IoT? IoT is something that is well known to carry out this monitoring in an environment. So we asked this question, and one of the biggest challenges we have with the Sherwood Forest is that it is an ancient forest, which means that we are prohibited to put the sensor on the tree directly. Okay, so we have to think about ways we can actually carry out this monitoring without damaging the forest itself. Okay, so we ask, what can we do with this? So we think about these remote sensing techniques in which we carry out the data through the visual sensor, cameras, and then we transfer that data to the base station, to the powerful computing facility in order for the data to get processed. So we leverage AI, we leverage the intelligence which we develop from the computing discipline in order to extract that pattern. So in that situation, we can harness the power of 5G in terms of providing rich content, rich data from the environment, and marry that 5G with the artificial intelligence in order for us to make decisions about what's going on within the environment. So in a nutshell, this is what we are doing. So we have actually leveraged the two robotics technology. The first one is on the ground robots, which you have seen here, these two. So we leverage upon these robot dogs to carry out the monitoring from the ground level. And then we also leverage upon the drone to carry out the observations from the top. Okay, so these two technologies, they combine together and provide a comprehensive data from the forest environment. Okay, so one of the things that we are looking at is on the tree species identification. So we utilize a couple of advanced machine learning techniques embedded within YOLO framework. So we use that in order to carry out assessment in terms of the tree distribution within the given forest. So you may ask this question, why do we need tree species detection? What's the use for that particular functionality within the forest? So, okay, if we look at the forest, we can look at the forest as an ecosystem where it composes a lot of animals, a lot of plants together within a given area, right? So the problem is that in many of our current forests, the native species of that forest are not well maintained because obviously there are new species coming in and that new species actually taking over the composition within the forest. So we have a challenge of this imbalanced composition within the ecosystem. So these tree species detections will be able to help us in order to carry out this assessment. So we can actually try to map how this non-native species is spreading from time to time. So if we know that, then the forest authorities, obviously we are not the forest authorities, but we can tell the forest authorities to do something about this behavior of non-native species. The other use case we are looking at is on the forest manager. So for forest manager, we are looking at the two functionalities. One is on detecting some emergency events in the forest. For example, like fire events or maybe events due to the flooding, maybe events due to the storm. So we try to capture what damages those extreme events have done to the forest. The other functionality we look at for the forest manager is on the search and rescue activity. So if, let's say, we got a visitor in the forest, the visitor is moving around the forest and get lost for some reason, then we can actually leverage upon the drone and robot to try to look for this missing person. The last use case we are looking at, which is represented with these two robot dogs, is a robot forest ranger. And that robot forest ranger is used to carry out the assessment from the ground level, but at the same time can provide the real-time interactions with the visitor. So to talk more about this robotic forest ranger, I would like to invite my researcher, Muad, to talk and perhaps do some demonstrations about these two little things here. Okay, Muad?
Thank you very much, Tawfiq, for that. Okay, so before we go on to demonstrating the robot's functionalities, I'd like to provide a little bit more explanation about the robots itself and their applications in the forest. So these two robots have actually been used for trials in Sherwood Forest itself. So we have actually physically took them out there to collect data and carry out various experiments. So on the presentation that you currently see now, the robot dog has two main use cases, which is accompanying visitors, in simple terms, interacting with the person and whatnot, which you will see in a moment, and also navigating through the forest, which I will also demonstrate its locomotion capabilities. So we have actually collected a lot of data, as you can see in the slide, first of which we have been able to provide the GPS location of where the robot is using 5G connectivity, so really, really fast internet. On the other hand, we have utilized the robot's cameras, which you could see at the front, and I will also demonstrate in a moment. These cameras are actually very, very high quality 4K cameras that can capture images as it is going in real time. So in real time, as it is going and navigating through the forest, we've got researchers within the university who implemented machine learning algorithm techniques to detect these tree species like Tawfiq has mentioned. And as you can see, we are detecting oak and deadwoods, and obviously implementing various external technologies such as the GoPro camera and other single board computers to implement this remotely. Of course, we didn't only just implement the robot dogs, we've actually utilized the drones as well to work with these robots. So obviously when the robots are investigating the forest from the ground, there's only so much that you can see. So for that reason, we have utilized drones as well to go out into the air, collect various images from above the ground, and that is all done using 5G connectivity. So the drones fly out into the air, that data will be collected, sent into the cloud, and then obviously the forest authorities could make decisions based on that data that is collected. So there are multiple challenges that have been faced, some of which are the limited 5G coverage. Obviously this is just a trial, so we are just collecting data to see if this project is feasible. We have intermittent connectivity and weather challenges, so we have to always consider that when we carry out our trials. There is energy constraints as well, so these robots are only powered through a battery, so they only last to a certain extent, then we have to switch the batteries over again. We've also faced mission critical requirements, so the way the data is transmitted, how reliable is that AI detection, and so on and so forth. So, as you can see in this video, we have implemented some detection algorithm. Obviously, this is not in Sherwood Forest, but we just used that as an offline video to see if the algorithm does work in case there is a fire within the UK. And you could see that it is actually detecting that. So in simple terms, if the drone is actually flying out in the air and there is a problem somewhere the fire starts, the authorities could be well aware of it before it expands and affects the whole forest. Great, so I'd like to move on to demonstrating the robot dogs. I know a lot of people are excited for that. So I'd like to start off by demonstrating Gizmo, which is the bigger brother. He is approximately 2 years old. In terms of gender, I do not know, but our project manager is saying that she is a girl, so let's go with that. And now, whoa, that's a bit loud. So Gizmo is actually capable of stomping on the ground, which is particularly highly advantageous. And the reason for that is, as we all know, the forest has uneven terrains. And we need the vehicle or the robot to move around safely. If it needs to detect certain things, it can go into various parts in that forest. So with this locomotion capabilities, it can easily do that. We can also demonstrate that if it does stomp over my feet, it's consistently maintaining that stability and is not being affected. So you can think of my feet as a piece of log or something on the floor or a rock or whatever you want. In addition to that, if we need the robot dog to silently move around the forest, we can do that. So it can silently go in the night, creeping up behind you. However, if we do need it to move around aggressively, then we can also do that. And then again, this is particularly useful as it is capable of moving over larger objects. Okay? So let's move on to the little brother, which is the naughty one. Again, I'd like to mention I am controlling them manually for health and safety reasons. These two do not like to listen to me when I program them in the lab, so I have to manually control them for that reason. The other thing is, Eric is actually 6 months old. And again, I do not know the gender, so let's just leave it at that for now. Eric, on the other hand, is really agile. He's able to move around very fast. And the reason why we believe that these two robots are particularly useful for the Sherwood Forest is because if Gizmo cannot go to a certain area within the forest, then the little brother could go and do whatever monitoring needs to be done. Okay? On the other hand, it is really fast, so the bigger robots could actually walk at a speed of, the bigger robot could walk at a speed of 6 kilometers an hour, which is equivalent to a person walking, but the little one, Eric, could actually go up to 12 kilometers an hour, which is equivalent to someone jogging. Okay? So again, both of these robots are actually integrated with depth cameras, which as you can see on the front. And these cameras are actually utilized to carry out the monitoring that we need to do. Okay? So before we got into stage, I've had a lot of people, or actually at least a few, saying to me, what sort of skills or what sort of things can it do? Well, the answer to that question is, these robot dogs are actually utilized to collect data from the forest. So we're not very interested in looking at what sort of things, cool things can it do, because we do not want to waste the resources. However, as I am in the lab, you do come across certain things where you look at this robot and you say, can it do something interesting? Okay, can it do something interesting? Well, let's have a look at this. It can do a backflip. Yeah? Who wants to see it again? I don't think a lot of people haven't noticed that. Eric, can you do a backflip? So I think one of the advantage of the robot's capability doing that, it just tells you that these things are able to do a lot of things, yeah? Once again. Okay. One more time, guys. We don't want to damage Eric, he's really young. One more time, Eric. So, again, one of the reasons why we feel that this is very important to demonstrate is not just to show off what the robot can do, but to kind of say that, look, these things, when they go into the forest, they can actually do a lot more than what they need to do. We've managed to be able to make it do a backflip, so of course we can let it walk over various objects. We can, of course, let it walk over uneven terrains and gradient, inclines in the ground or whatever it is. We can let it do that. And this is why we have the bigger robot to do that demo. Okay, so can it do something else? All right, we need to get Gizmo out of the way a little bit. Little dance. Give him another round of applause. And just before we wrap up, I know some of you like thinking, okay, Moad, that's not fair. You played with the little robot, but not the bigger robot. Can you make it do something? Yes, we can also do something with a bigger robot. We can make it do a rollover. Yeah, let's go for another round of applause. So the rollover again is really, really important, because if the robot does eventually lose, stability for whatever reason and it does topple over, we can create a certain function to enable it to roll over and move on. Okay. So I'd like to invite Tawfiq and Jaren back onto stage, and hopefully if there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
It's amazing.
We're a little bit short on time, so we're gonna just gonna have time for one audience question if we've got one.
Let's do it. Go for it.
I really want everyone else to know this more than anything, but I saw/heard about a little dog race, a robotic dog race in Birmingham. Can you tell me a little bit more about it and tell everyone a little bit more about it?
Yeah, okay. So the little robot, as I mentioned, has a speed of 12 kilometers an hour, so you can pretty much go at the speed of someone jogging. On the UK 5G event, we've been approached by a company who were in control of a Boston Dynamics robot now. So that's the yellow robot. And immediately he said, do you want to have a race? I'm thinking, okay, I need to be sensible right now. Let me not get my inner child out. So he approached again, and then he came again on a third time, and I looked at Jen and I said, should we do it? And she said, yeah, go for it. So we had a race, and I think...
And we won.
We won.
By far. We want to do the walking one some stage outside as well.
Yeah, so maybe after the event, we
outside
can
we
do
can
some
do
more demonstrations for you guys. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Now, you've obviously created the world's first connected forest, 5G connected forest.
Yeah.
What is next in terms of like for you guys and your plans? I mean, are there plans to commercialize at all, or sort of what's your thinking?
Yes. So initially the idea came up from our low carbon sustainability and also environmental management. Now we are taking it further to the rest of the country now, having discussions with the neighborhood counties and also discussing with some technology leaders how we can merge with their smart forest products with ours. So when you listen about all this forest monitoring aspect, it is a very time consuming, it is a human required aspect at the moment, it is time consuming and also it's very costly. When you start to use these things with digital, this is where the business case comes up. So commercialization, yes, we are holding these discussions now because we already attract some attention from the neighboring countries for the rest of natural parks. In terms of what is next in the county, as I said, that we have that vision and ambition and imagination, as you could see what Moat could see, do with those two. We are looking to create smart county to use in agriculture, car parking, housing, social housing, care sector. So you will see that this is what my team, Digital Connectivity team, working on, bringing that digital innovation to Nottinghamshire.
Sounds incredible. Any other questions from the audience at all? Yes, sir.
These guys sort of monitor the forest and do their role. In terms of when they encounter a visitor in the forest, do they greet the visitor or anything? And is this the first of its kind in the world of robots actually patrolling forests?
It is the first time it is being used for a forest monitoring. Never been done before because there is no connectivity allow us to use robots like this in a forest setting. In terms of visitor attractions, no, there is no human attractions because it's only being used as a trial. So when we start using this as a commercial aspect, when we do, it will need to be trained by the monitor. So what we also say is digital skills are really important. So even though they can do some stuff and they are working with digital, they need someone to control and because of health and safety respects, so we need to monitor and then have someone monitoring those, using, controlling them.
Thank you so much, guys. I'd love to give you more time. I'm afraid we've got to wrap up here. But if you want to connect with these guys, just make sure you use the Brella app and find them through the app. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
Thank you very
listening,
much.
and get in touch if you want more.